we're going to lead it off with something very timely as the month of December begins and the holidays are really here in full swing now, and that's seasonal depression. Dr. Dale Peeples, means report veteran and child and adolescent psychiatrist at the Medical College of Georgia at Augusta University, is joining us. Dr. Peeples, thank you for coming back.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
I want to ask you, first of all, how we can tell if we're just in a down blue mood, if we're just having a blue Christmas, or if we really are depressed and need to come see you.
Yeah. So I think there's two things to keep in mind with a seasonal depression. The first is that it should be recurrent, so you should see a pattern. The year before around this time you started feeling down and depressed. So it's not just some particular stressors going on this holiday season, but it has happened before. The other thing to be on the lookout for is the number of symptoms. So we really look at this as a subtype of depression. So when we're talking about depression, we're talking about feeling sad and down, feeling irritable, low energy, changes in sleep, changes in appetite, changes in your ability to focus, concentrate, and worst off, possibly thoughts about suicide. So when we see more and more of those building up, that's when we become concerned and would encourage people to seek help.
Who's most at risk for this?
Well, it could potentially affect anyone, but women do have a slightly higher risk than men with seasonal depression.
How prevalent is this today? Is it something that we used to, and I think you've touched on this before, a lot of mental illnesses and issues were swept under the rug in the past. You think this is one of them? Because I hadn't heard of seasonal depression until the past probably 15, 20 years.
Yeah, I think there's two parts to it. One is that there is increasing awareness of mental illness in general, as you indicate. And then the second issue is that we do live in a southern state, and you're going to see higher and higher rates of seasonal depression the further north you go in America. So, for instance, Florida has the lowest rates with about 1%. Canada and Alaska have rates between 9 and 15%. So here in Georgia, we're probably in that 2 to 3% range, I'd say.
Is that a sunlight issue?
It is. It is. Sunlight does play an important role in the biology of seasonal affective disorder. It influences a couple of things: vitamin D production, which leads to serotonin production, melatonin production, which you might be aware regulates sleep. So both of those issues are related to the amount of sunlight and do contribute to seasonal depression.
What do we need to say to our doctor if we've experienced some of the symptoms that you listed, or if we have some of the triggers in our lives that may lead to this? How do we broach it with the doctor? It's tough.
It is. It is. So, hopefully you've got a good working relationship with your doctor. It's someone you feel comfortable talking to. Then kind of keeping in mind those symptoms of depression that I was describing earlier and bringing them to your doctor's attention. With seasonal depression particularly, checking a vitamin D level wouldn't be unreasonable, so that might be a test your doctor might order. But then when it comes to treatments, oftentimes we are using antidepressants similar to regular depression, but there are other therapies that a doctor could discuss with you as well.
If a family member has this or has suffered from it in the past, does that mean someone's more likely to?
It is. Depression does tend to be cyclical, so it comes back, and particularly seasonal depression. Usually you're going to see problems begin December and run through February with improvement towards the spring. Now, there are a few people who have actually depression come on in the summer, but that's much, much rarer and actually looks a little bit different than what we see in the winter.
What are some of the treatment options available? Can we take a pill and get over this?
So medication has been found to be effective in several studies. That is one option. But there are other possibilities that people could look at. Like we talked about, vitamin D is one way that people might see some improvement with an over-the-counter intervention. Similarly, light can help out. Now, it's not just indoor light that's going to do the trick. You do need something that's going to mimic the sun. So there are specially made light boxes that can help with this.
My first thought when you said vitamin D, and even when you mentioned light, was that I could probably skip a trip to the doctor if I'm symptomatic and try these things first. Is that okay or wise?
I'd look at the amount of impact the depression is having on an individual's life. So if you really feel like this is impairing my functioning, things are falling apart with my family, I'm not doing so well at work, I'm just having trouble moving on here, then I think it probably would be wise to talk to a doctor. But, if it's just, a little bit more tired, having a hard time motivating myself, then, some of these other interventions, light box, vitamin D, talk therapy and lifestyle interventions can also be helpful too.
I was going to ask you, have you seen success with a peer support type approach where we could just talk this out with people who are going through the same thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot can be accomplished with behavioral strategies. So, getting up, making yourself exercise, move around, making sure you are getting yourself some exposure to sunlight in the day, looking at your diet, trying to avoid some of those high starch, high carb foods, and trying to work to minimize just some of that stress that's going on in the holidays can all help.
What about something as simple as aromatherapy or massage? I read that those can help you with seasonal depression or any time of the year you want to just feel better. Is that taking too laid back of an approach for something that could be very serious?
Again, I'd encourage the individual to really think about the amount of impact this is having on their lives. Again, overall, they're getting by, but they are feeling a little bit more stressed out, then those might be appropriate first steps. But if it's really causing trouble, I'd seek help. Yeah.
Is there an age where this is more common? Have you seen children with seasonal depression?
Again, here in Georgia, it's not as common as it's going to be in northern parts of the world. So I'm struggling to think of when I saw a kid where I definitely would say it was seasonal related. Honestly, with most of the kids I see in season, it tends to be school related.
Sure,
School comes on.
That'll do it.
But I believe you do see slightly higher rates in younger women would be the population at highest risk.
What about insurance coverage on something like this? What have you seen on that front?
The government has made steps to try to expand what they call parity to mental health coverage. So generally speaking, nowadays when people have health insurance that's covering most of their medical needs, it's going to cover most of their psychiatric needs as well. And several of these interventions that we discussed, medication, light box, checking vitamin D levels, those could be managed by one's primary care doctor as a first step. It wouldn't necessarily even have to come to psychiatry. So most people, I think, would find that their health care is covering it.
Well, I certainly hope that people will take advantage of the care that is out there, and a lot of the therapies that Dr. Peeples mentioned. Call his office and get started, because people shouldn't have to go through what's supposed to be a joyful time in a period of sorrow.
Exactly.
Thanks for being here as always.
Absolutely, thank you.
Absolutely. Dr. Dale Peeples, psychiatrist, the Medical College of Georgia at Augusta University.